The criticism that is frequently made, okay, is that, once more than two people, now I'm exaggerating, okay, so I mustn't do that, but once a large number of people request the same program at the same time.
That's when we come into the picture.
Well, thank God. I hope you were very busy at TV Connect because of that. But how do we resolve this problem? Because we've all seen the horror stories of 100,000 people trying to download, some special sports event as a rule, and the network falling over. Or even actually the opening episode of a House of Cards or a Game of Thrones. Network collapses and impacts everything, not just those people looking for that particular video stream. So, okay, what's the solution?
I mean, the solution is distribution of the streaming servers, simply. And we see this in our most advanced markets, being European, Central European countries with very advanced infrastructure. Still, they distribute their CDNs to an extent we have never seen before. We're talking 60 or even more POPs in countries the size of Great Britain, and so on. That's a lot. So how you manage the bottlenecks in the network is to get as close to the customer as possible.
Yes.
And then combine that with dynamic bit rates, adaptive bit rate solutions, and so on, of course. But in the end, delivering high quality requires high bandwidth. There's no way to. That's a law of physics.
Exactly.
I think Johan makes some very good points. The kind of access bandwidths that are available at the moment really suit true high definition, and there have been some very awkward comparisons between 1080p, 5060 Blu-ray type content and UHD. The challenge for us as compression vendors is to get the bit rate down for HEVC down to that manageable level where the budget actually makes sense for a broadcaster to transition from HD to UHD. I think the other thing that needs to be said is that most of the early services are VOD catch-up type services because they are the easy ones to tackle. There are another few issues hidden behind that. HD was introduced as a parallel service to SD, and I think as we've already been alluding to, the fact is that UHD has to fit in with the existing multi-screen landscape. The multi-screen landscape, there are already 4 streaming standards in there, and I think it has to fit in to that kind of environment, not only just for delivery, but also targeted advertising, catch-up TV,
absolutely,
and so forth. Everyone thinks that it's going to be just the resolution or the visual experience, but broadcasters' margins are hard-pressed at the moment, and they really want to introduce second screen applications, targeted advertising, along with this transition. So I think that for broadcasters now, the difficulty for them is to start as a VOD catch-up service and then scale to a true broadcast service. And in some way that means that we've got to tackle this unicast to multicast type delivery in an environment that's very, very heavily regulated, very controlled by standards, and dare I say it, the issues of net neutrality and the separation of content provider and network provider then come into play. So it's a very complex commercial landscape.
And is this how you sense your clients are going to move into the 4K ultra high def environment, probably with OTT catch-up services initially, maybe with a soccer match on a Friday night or a Saturday afternoon to tempt the subscriptions in?
Very much so. I think that most of the major broadcasters are in a bit of a holding pattern.
Yes.
They sense that they've got to have a stake in the game. They're launching set-top box with 4K and UHD capability. So either they can launch their own 4K or UHD streaming services or endorse another service that's actually been provided. So it's a holding pattern from that sense. you're also seeing a lot of broadcasters who are saying we really need to get brand association, and that's where you get the dilemma between people wanting to promote sports content, true live to home.
Yes.
And I'm not necessarily saying that they won't use satellite cable type infrastructure, but what is for certain is that IP streaming like MPEG- will feature strong.
Absolutely.
So that UHD will become part of an adaptive range all the way from mobile smartphone all the way up to UHD. And I think that's the complex landscape that most broadcasters or content aggregators are involved in.